what's happening at Ewetopia Farms today.
I'm looking at the capacity of the sheep. The longer that nose is, probably the longer the body is. But I have ewes that are just as thick as he is or thicker. So I actually want to see a little slope on that ewe there. I just totally wouldn't call that a broken back.
So let's get started. So today's the last day in Dorset. We're packing up the car and it's 2 degrees, I believe. Started to rain, so we timed that well. We were gonna do some trails on the way back, but if it's raining, obviously we're not, but we'll see what happens. We had a nice trip here, but all good things come to an end. Bye bye, little cottage. It was fun. As we head home, we're stopping by the restaurant we discovered to have some breakfast because it was really good here, and you can tell that by the amount of cars that are here.
Oh, in Cuba it's fantastic.
We're back. We're back.
Oh, okay.
And for those of you who always like to see our black squirrels, there he is. We post to YouTube, and a lot of the viewers have never seen black squirrels.
Oh, really?
And I thought they're so common here, but
Yeah, they're kind of like dumpster rats.
So, hey buddy. We're back today. Had a few days off. We're just doing chores and see how things went when I was gone. And all the ewes look fantastic. With all those bad rumps. Anyways, I'm just checking everything this morning. Making sure everybody's fine. We just got back last night, so we'll see how it's turning out. I'm actually just finishing delicing some sheep that we deliced a few days ago, and I didn't have my camera with me earlier, so a couple rams I went through already, and I wanted to point out a few points because we've had a few comments about the rams, and it's extremely interesting, and hopefully we're going to learn something here. So, I'm going to show you one of my tools that I use for picking sheep and for making what I'm looking at with sheep an easy way for me to do it. And I'll show you. So we're running through the chutes right now, and I'll show you what we're doing. So we have the chutes set up here, and we're delicing them if they have any lice. And you can see what we're doing here. And there's Hamish right there. We're going to talk about him in a few minutes. So this is what I'm looking for. So I don't know how many people know about these Marwell chutes. I think they're pretty standard, the width of the chute. So right now I really can't see their legs, or I can't see how they walk. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm looking at the capacity of the sheep, how long they are, and how wide they are. So I'm looking at the first one here, and you can see she has a little room in the chute. So my first impression is she's a nice ewe, but she's not one of my biggest ewes, because see, she's got about an inch of space there. And I'm looking at her head. She has a reasonable nice head, maybe a little narrow on the eyes there on the forehead. which is an indicator that she's a little bit of a smaller sheep. Not real bad. I look at the next one here. The head's a little more broader. And as you can see in the chute there, she's actually filling the chute up. So my first, if I was going to buy a sheep, I would say I'd probably have a second choice on that one. I mean, this ewe is actually built really well. I mean, it's hard to see that. Maybe a little bit, should have a little more strength here in this front shoulder here. But it's definitely not a real major problem. If I look at this chute here, you can see, it's hard to tell, but you can see she's filled out a lot better in that front shoulder here. And she has a lot more bulk. And I look at that rump there and I'm thinking, see too much wrong with that. There's Hamish right there. I'm going to say one thing. Craig made a whole, Craig spoke a lot. I can see that me and Craig are on the same page. Maybe not quite on the same page, but the advantage I have with Craig is that sheep is right in front of me, so I can make a better judgment on it, which Craig is looking at a picture, and the picture could not be a little bit misleading. So I probably have a little better advantage on the sheep than Craig does. Craig has extremely good points. Most of Craig's points are all on the same page is what I'm talking about. So pretty happy with Craig. Love to meet him someday. Hopefully I will meet him. But we're going to keep Hamish out and we're going to take a good look at him. Anyways, back to my point. We'll just let this first ewe out because she's done. And you can see how that sheep's filling that chute right up, touching side to side. Tells me she's got a good big barrel rib on her. And I really don't see that she has a narrow rump. I do see that her feet are not, or should be a little better placed at the back. We'll let her go. And you can see her walking there. See, probably should have just had those feet straightened out a little better at the back. Lots of capacity at the front end. Again, that ewe's way above average. Couldn't get rid of that ewe. This ewe here is a nice ewe. Again, she's basically touching the chute side to side. Let's see their head here. Yeah, nice Dorset head. The ears are pointed a little upwards. Got a little wool on the hair in the ears, which you want to see. And that sheep is deliced too. We'll just let that one go. See what it looks like. Yeah, I don't see. Should be a little better in the back legs probably. So this ewe here has something unique. And if you look at this ewe, look at the length of the head on this ewe. She's not going to show it because she's nervous. This ewe has an extremely long head. And she has a extremely good Dorset head, in my opinion. And, excuse me. And the first thing I noticed with this sheep is long. So you know what the rule of thumb is? The longer that nose is, probably the longer the body is. That's a real nice ewe. Fills the chute up. She's actually a little taller because I'm going off by this level here. So you can see she's a little taller. Got a beautiful head, extremely good ewe, way above average in our farm anyhow. We'll let her go. We'll see what she looks like here. Hey girl, walk a little for us. Again, I would probably work on those back legs a little bit. This ewe here, nice Dorset head on her. This is a Hamish ewe, I'm pretty sure it is. The legs are really well placed at the back. Smaller ewe, maybe favoring that shoulder a little bit. You can see a little bit of the indent right there. Should need a little bit more strength in that front shoulder. But that's a Hamish ewe. Hamish doesn't make oversized sheep. He makes more of the average sheep he doesn't really make them really big. But we'll see how she walks when she goes out. You can see in that front shoulder, she should have a little more strength in that front shoulder. So she's sagging a little bit right behind that shoulder. Wouldn't call that a bad back. It's more right behind that shoulder. That sheep is way better on the legs than the four that went out before her. So, nice head. See how long that head is? And right away, I'm looking at the sheep. Two nice heads right here. Two real nice heads. And I'm looking at these two ewe lambs. They're both from Hamish because they got wool on them, pretty sure. I don't know what's wrong with that rump. I'm not sure. But that's a nice ewe. That's a real nice ewe to me. Here's a ewe. Here's from Hamish. And you can tell that's a way different type of ewe. Look how thick that ewe is. And that's the first time ewe lamb, I'm pretty sure. Because they had the wool on them and they were showing off first. So that's probably a Hamish ewe. Oh, that's a beautiful ewe, just like her father. That's her father right behind her. But we'll talk about Hamish in a second here. I'm just going to reload this chute. Actually, I made a terrible mistake. There's no Hamish ewes in here because that is Hamish. That was a terrible mistake I just made there. But we'll look at these ewes again. Watch it. So the first thing I'm looking at, I'm looking down this chute. That's the first ewe. Second ewe. So when you look down this chute, what would be your first clue of which was the better sheep? The fourth one? The third one? Second one or third one? Or the first one? So this first sheep, it's got a fantastic head on it. That's probably the best sheep in the chute. Again, I'm looking at, she's filling the chute right up. So she knows she's got enough capacity. Does not have a pointy rump. That shoulder is that's a good shoulder. Again, yeah, not broken. I don't see anything wrong with that shoulder. You probably could work more on this again. But then, how thick do you want to make a ewe? How thick do you want to have a ewe, eh? So these are de-lice. So we'll let this first one out. Come on, girl. Let's see what you look like. And that's quite a heavy ewe for Dorset. And she walks. Actually, see, she walks really well on the back feet. Walks really well. Stands well. That's a good-legged Dorset. This Dorset here, the first thing I see is, I see the head's too narrow on this Dorset. I see she's not in the greatest condition for some reason. And she has a high hips here. These hip bones are high. And she's probably, I would consider this sheep, maybe it's because of the weight problem, but this sheep is probably a little sagged on the back. Right now, not in love with that sheep. Maybe she's going to put some more, she definitely needs more condition. There's no question about it. Again, that sheep is in poor condition, walks perfect on the back legs. This is the first time ewe lamb. Definitely the head's an improvement. It is a ewe lamb, so it's not filling the chute up perfectly. It's what I consider not one of my larger sheep, but I'm looking at that sheep. The little bit kneed at the back. You want the legs a little better set, I think. And again, a perfect rump angle in my opinion. To be honest with you, little smaller sheep, very well set. In my looks. And I'm looking at her here. See how she walks away. Come on, girl. She actually walks quite well. But Hamish is still here. He's going to have his feet trimmed again. So Craig said that he thought Hamish was a little low at the front end. Actually, we'll just put a few sheep in the chute for a second. Come on, girls. So my first impression of those two lambs, I like those two lambs a lot. So there's Hamish there. We're going to see if we can leave Hamish out here by himself. Nice ewe. Got that nice tight wool on her. Definitely not broken in the back. Extremely good back on her. I'm looking at the leg. Yeah, probably want to just have a little better, those knees at the back, just a little bit more out, a little better place. But still extremely good ewe. That's a first timer too, for sure. So there's Hamish. And Craig didn't pick it out yet. But there's one thing I'm not in love with Hamish. But Hamish is way above average to not use him. Is he walking downhill? Right there, he looks really good. I would say I wouldn't want him any lower at the front. And that's why Hamish's daughters are in with that big ram on this side. Right there he is. Because he's going to put some size on Hamish's daughters. And that's what Craig said too. And I was on board with that. Hamish is a true Dorset. There's no question. Yeah, you would say that you wouldn't want him any lower at the front, but to the average person wouldn't pick it out. It's not too obvious. But Craig didn't pick out what I thought I would change in that guy. No, I honestly think Hamish is dead leveled on his back. He actually has a little slope on his rump. I know Andrew, I think, was talking about that the rumps weren't right. I actually want a rump that has a little slope, because when these ewes have lambs, and some lambs have a lot of discharge after they have the lambs of some bad birthing or whatever, you want a little slope, because you want that ewe to drain correctly and not form an infection. You want that that drain to come out, that she cleans up and dries up. So I actually want to see a little slope on that rump. Honestly. Yeah, Hamish actually is definitely not walking downhill. But we'll see if we can get him out here by himself. There's one in here. We'll see if we can get Hamish to stand here by himself. Hey, Hamish. Well, actually, there is a good picture of Hamish. So when Hamish holds his head up like that, he looks extremely good. When he holds his head a little down, so yeah. Hey, Hamish. Pretty hard to replace that ram. That's extremely good ram. Anyways, I'm talking too much right now. Definitely wouldn't say he's running downhill. Like, he's on the cement floor right now. And I think if you look at him. But we'll get him in the chute here, and we'll measure him in the chute. So there's Hamish right now. He's got an extremely good shoulder at the front end. And you can see he is filling the chute up. But I have ewes that are just as thick as he is or thicker. And you can see he does fill the chute up. He's got the true Dorset head on him. Got a good spread in the front feet. And he's got quite a long nose on him. Pretty I haven't seen a better ram than this yet. I'm sure there are better rams out there. But to me that's a good ram. So we know the chute's on the cement floor. So you can see his back. Yeah, I would basically say he's running right on the level. See, he looks really good with his head up like that. But anyways, that's Hamish. We just had him in the chute today, so I just thought we'd talk about him. But Craig hasn't noticed what I see with this ram, and that's only my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong with that. But there's one thing that I would correct him a little better on. But yeah, I have the advantage because I'm here and I see him right in front of me, and Craig is doing it on a picture. So Craig would have, but yeah, but Craig, I'm right on board with Craig. He said everything when I'm pretty well thinking. So I'm done this group now. And to me, they look quite good. So, come on, girls. See, and there's Hamish. He's big, but he's definitely not bigger than the ewes. Come on, Bob. Let's go in the barn, in the pen. Let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, girls. That's it. Done. So this pen's all done. So Craig says he really likes Luther. And Craig thought that Hilton's ram lamb here that we're using should have had a little more bone. And there he is right there. But I can assure Craig, now again, see, I'm looking at him right in front of me, and Craig is not looking at him in the picture. But what changes the picture in that ram is so deep and thick, it actually makes his bone look smaller. But he has as much bone as Luther, guaranteed. And I'm just looking at it because people are saying remarks, so I'm just looking at what people say and what I'm looking at. See, and I wouldn't, that ewe there, I just totally wouldn't call that a broken back. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. But there's Luther right there in the center. He's definitely not a tall ram, but he's extremely got the muscling. And we'll get him out here in the walkway. We'll look at him in a second. So we'll just let them out. There he is right in the center. But I don't know. He's actually quite relaxed. There he is chewing his cud. He's a different type of ram. I know that's not a good picture. Sorry about that. But he definitely has enough bone. I would say if you want to have more bone, that would be your preference. But just But to say he didn't have enough, he has lots. But again, he's right in my face, so I make a better judgment on it. And Craig looks at the picture, and it could be misleading. But I like the comments. I have no problem with the comments, and I'm just curious how I can improve on things. So, and Yeah, I don't get the top thing, the top line, and I don't get the rump thing either. Just fed these guys. Everybody knows these are all replacement ewe lambs. And this is the breeding group. And this is Hilton's son. So it's debatable with this. We have two Hilton sons running. This is the one I prefer. Lynn prefers the other one. The thing with Hilton walks uphill. That's his real strong point. This is a son. He's actually dead level, but this ram here is a long ram. He's got a real long body, and his brother doesn't have as long a body, has a shorter body. He's being used because of his length and his muscling on that ram. And this breeding group here, this ram was chosen because he's pretty well perfect built, in our opinion. And we used this ram because we didn't want the sheep to keep getting taller and taller and taller. We wanted to keep them to a certain size. So this ram here is the same size as the ewes. There he is right there. Again, this ram is actually quite long, and you can see he's quite well set. But he's not the biggest ram around, but he's being used because, like I said, we want to keep the rams to a medium size. In the past, these smaller sheep and smaller rams are the first ones to leave the barn. Everybody wants that particular size. And that's why he's being used. So he's in a nice big group of ewes here, and we should end up with some real nice ewe lambs. So that's his whole group right there. And out of that group, he should easily throw 25 for sure real good ewe lambs. So those guys aren't fed yet. I just gotta shut this gate for the night. And just going to make a quick check to see if everybody's in here. And there's nobody out. I wish that's a pile of old rotten bales, and it takes forever for those bales to rot down. I wish they would disappear a little quicker. But anyways, just going to shut this gate and get moving. So like I said, these are all first-time ewe lambs, Dorsets. So these should be when they fill out, these should be better than the Dorsets we have. If they're not better than the Dorsets we have, the mothers, then we've done something wrong. But like I said earlier, I really like the good leg placement on these guys. Well, that's actually Lynn's pet right there. You can't look at her. But, and there's Peggy. Now they look like they're walking downhill because in along the manger there, it's about 6 inches lower than there. So they don't stand well on that manure pack. But I'm extremely happy with the leg placement. The legs look really well on them. Definitely improved than what we had. So this barn's done. I'm gonna move on. And on this Dorset breeding group right here, this was the last group we had left over. These ewes had lambs late in the season, so they weren't in the greatest condition. and we wanted to put more condition on before we introduced the ram. And they're doing really well. That ram there, out of the 8 rams we're using, hey Bob, back up. This ram here, I would love to improve probably the most. Hey, don't get an attitude. Really a good meat machine, but there's a few things that I would really want to improve in that ram. That ram was used because he's an outcross and he's an RR. So that ram is going to produce a bunch of ewe lambs, and out of those ewe lambs, we're going to pick the very best ones out and move the rest on, and try to improve the flock. But that Dorset ram, out of the 8 rams, he's the one I would want to improve the most. And even Monty here, Monty wasn't my favorite ram. Right there he is, doing his job. But Monty has open wool, what I don't like. But that's a small reason to pick a ram from his wool conditions. He probably should have a little longer ears. That's debatable because he's got like a 55-pound head on him. So the head actually makes the ears look smaller. But his ears should be a little longer maybe. It's quite common to have a ram with a little bit shorter ears, in my view. But Marnie has one thing I would love to correct on him. But again, Marnie, of all the rams we're using, that one trait, I wish I could change it on him. So he's got a real nice bunch of ewes here. A nice mix of ewes, different type of ewes. So out of these ewes, see, and I would call that ewe right there, I would call that a little bit of a swayback. Now, that is an old ewe. So, did she just fall apart over the years? But, don't like her back, but you'd be shocked what that ewe will produce with Marnie. You might not even see it. Nice ewe right there, see? That's a real nice ewe. In my books. Nice ewe right there, that back one right there. You like my pointing stick? But he's got a nice bunch of different type of ewes. And out of these ewes, so she must be just getting in, she's just starting to cycle right now. But Monty's an RR. And one of the reasons why we use Monty, because Monty has been used before, and Monty actually threw some real good ewe lambs. So we just want to give him another chance. We did, like I said, we did use him before, and he threw some real nice lambs. So hopefully he does that again. I'm just checking the drinkers for the rams. Just gave him a new bale of hay. So that, go on, Max, Ben, go on. So that big guy standing up right there, that is Hilton. And Hilton's 2 sons are probably better than Hilton. But that's Hilton, and he actually, well, he's standing now, but he actually walks uphill. So that's what's impressive about Hilton. And he's actually extremely well built.
Well, we're going to call that a day. As usual, when we get talking about the sheep and traits and what we're looking for, it's a long discussion because there's a lot involved. But we wanted to start off by addressing the video prior to that, in which we were talking about what faults there might be in various rams that we use, because it's hard to find a ram that has the whole package, or a ewe even. So it's an ongoing discussion, and it's always up for debate, and it's always a topic that people seem to be interested in, and can cause a lot of disagreement, but also a lot of agreement, and it gives a lot of food for thought. But anyway, this is a start at addressing critiquing our sheep and responding to how people commented on that video. So we did that. I'm going to make one more video on this topic for this year anyway, talking about my opinion, because that's Arnie's opinion, and Arnie's opinions are not always the same as mine. And I mean, if two people that live and work together and raise the same sheep together don't always agree, then you know that people outside the farm and on different farms are not going to agree either. But it gives people a general idea what various people are looking at, what they consider all right, what they consider maybe is not all right, and everything in between. So I hope you enjoyed your time with us, and I hope you'll join us again next time. Bye for now. I forgot to mention that if you look at our thumbnail, the ram in that photo is Gladiator when he was in his prime, looking his absolute best. He's an old retired ram who's showing his age now, but he's definitely earned it, because still today we look at that photo and remember what it was we liked so much about him. To us, he's still a beautiful ram and came really close to having it all, I think. So, just so you know, that was Glad.